Oh, yeah. Once you've had Rick Rack, you'll never go back. The ultimate motorcycle luggage rack solution. Forget those messy straps and bungee cords. Go strapless with a Rick Rack quick attach luggage system and quality bag. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store and get hooked up now. Hey, Bikeaholics. Zero 3D has a wide variety of innovative products for your Harley-Davidson and a brand new line for your all-new Honda Gold Wings. That's right, named Gold Strike.
I like it the gold.
I like it the gold. Top quality, affordable chrome lighting and comfort products. Zero Gold Strike are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play system compatibility. They absolutely are. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store and check out our full line of Zero 3D products. Welcome back, you freaking bikeaholics. This is the podcast for the motorcycle majority, the Big MM, also known as the
99%.
Listen to that sexy voice, large and in charge of the motorcycle scene more than any time in history by listening to this very podcast. That's right, you are part of what we call
the Biker Revolution.
Hashtag. Yeah, baby. Love it. One question for you before we get started. What are you waiting for, bikeaholics? Mount up.
And let us take you on another wild-ass ride.
Big Daddy Kane on fire, nailing it right out of the chute. That's because we are all warmed up already. Ryan Erdocker here, your host of the Law Abiding Biker podcast, and of course,
your high-tech redneck.
Very nice, brother. He is on point. Big Daddy Kane in the studio. We've already been rocking and rolling this morning, we'll tell you.
Big step and keep it up, little girl. Everybody knows that you rock my world. Now it's my turn to take you to the next step. Let's go down to the bedroom and let's get in that bed.
Oh, yeah. Always mixing it up. Big Daddy rapper extraordinaire. Love it, bro. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely, man.
Love it. It is just about noon. So we're going to, a couple things this episode, guys, and it's going to be a fun episode. It's biker talk BSing about real world biker experiences. And the main topic today, which we're going to get to, will be all about this year. We went on our 8-day, 7-state, 3,000-mile motorcycle trip, a little bit less for Big Daddy. We'll talk about that. He came back a little bit early because he rocks the law-abiding biker store. So we're going to talk about why he chose to ride his Indian Chieftain Limited over his Harley Road Glide Special this year. Pros, cons, all that. It's not a Harley versus Indian. It never is. We support all bikes here. Trust me, there's lots of things about Harley we don't like. There's also things about Indian we're not going to like, and we're going to talk about those pros and cons. Right here, Big Daddy, he actually went on the ride, so he's going to be able to relate that to you, and I'll pick his brain and dig a little bit. The other thing we're going to get started off with on this episode, yes, and I know we don't always like to talk about every product we sell in our store, but it is important. The reason we're warmed up is we did a live video just now prior to this, and it was all about cool products for Indian stuff that Big Daddy Kane actually uses on his Indian Chieftain stuff he's rocking. We've got some new cool additions to the store. All the stuff that we're going to talk about, don't worry, it's not just for metric. It's for all Indian, all your metric bikes, your Victories, Hondas, all that kind of stuff. He's going to break it down for you here in a minute, Big Daddy, on the products and what they'll fit. But all the stuff we talk about is also for Harley because they're dual products, and a lot of the kits we're going to talk about come with stuff so you can mount it to either or use it for either. So we're going to break down the products on this podcast a little bit further than we did on the YouTube Live. If you want to get the YouTube Live, lawabidingbiker.com/ and whatever episode this number is, I will place it in the show notes for you. Or, of course, anytime, just head on over to the YouTube channel or the website. They both have awesome search bars, and just search for that stuff and you will find it. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. That's the best, and turn on alerts so that when we pop a live like this, it was secret and it wasn't scheduled and we just went live. So if you have alerts and all that kind of stuff, you will be notified, and you can join in on those live events because they're a lot of fun. It was a 10 or 13 minute live video we did going over visually that kind of stuff. So Big Daddy Kane, announce a new free video because you know about this. Yeah,
the new video we got coming out right now is the best Harley LED headlight bulb and Indian for Harley and Indian Rivco H4 halogens LEDs video. Rivco is a company that we've partnered with. They came to us They realized that we had a market that was absolutely perfect for their situation. They do H4 halogen replacement bulbs specifically. And on our site, we have those on there, and there's actually a fitment page. So make sure you check the fitment, because a lot of the newer bikes, as far as the Harleys and stuff, they won't work. But the cool thing is there's actually a link to a PIAA actual listing, and you just have to make sure that you have the H4 halogen. Generally speaking, it's most of for Harleys 13 and olders, but they work for all kinds of different bikes.
Great
Hondas,
conversion.
Yamaha, Suzuki's, everything. And they have the passing lamps, and those have been really popular. In fact, we sold 2 this morning.
For the Harley passing lamps?
Yeah.
Or H4, any H4 bulb?
Yeah. So the passing lamps are doing very well. People are starting to realize how important that extra brightness. In fact, Victor recently, one of our patrons, put it in his bike, and it's amazingly different having him behind me and seeing how much brighter his bike is, how much better I can see him compared to before with just the regular halogen bulbs.
Yep,
so it's a
nice.
safety issue too.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. That's why we promo so many headlights on this channel and on this podcast, is you get rid of those stock. It's plain dangerous. This is a cheaper version, a cheaper option, I should say. It's not quality. It's just a cheaper option than replacing the entire headlight can. So check it out. The video's been out for a long time. We just try to announce them when we can. Of course, that YouTube channel blowing up. Now, Big Daddy Kane, you know as well as I do, we love our sponsors. We love Zero3D and Rick Rack. They've been longtime sponsors. They're great companies to be associated with. But these people also we want to thank, because these are our patron members that have signed up, and they help sponsor these episodes too.
Yep, actually, I recognize a lot of these names. We got Stephen Cox of Redmond, Washington. We got Jimmy Jerval of Urunga, Australia. Rick Wheeler of Brunswick, Ohio.
Greg Matheson of Orlando, Florida. Mark Phipps of Thermopolis, Wyoming. And Brad Martin of Indianapolis, Indiana.
And we have Sir Mike of Kannapolis, North Carolina. And Corey Roaring of Osakis, Minnesota, and he's top tier. And last but not least, obviously, is Thomas Henry of Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia.
Nice. lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon is how you get signed up. Pledge a certain amount per piece of content, and no risk to you, because you can put a monthly cap. There are benefits such as t-shirts and stickers. Big Daddy Kane's the one that sends all the t-shirts out when you get signed up, the stickers and all that kind of stuff. You can get in the private Facebook group forum, which is an amazing community of bikers. It's a troll-free zone. Get access to episodes like this months before everybody else, because I will be uploading this video/podcast right into the back end of mid-level and above patron members, and you'll see this months, because they don't come out. We batch process. And then access to our premium for purchase tutorial videos up on request for all you top-tier members. And let me tell you, we wouldn't be here on a Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon at noon to keep pumping through and pushing without our patron members. I know a lot of you get me tired, I'm sure, of me, but I praise the patron members for a reason. The podcast especially is monetized. I spent my entire Saturday yesterday with 2 episodes live on our recent trip. And then I'm back up this morning. These are my days off, guys, and it's Big Daddy's Kane's days off. He rode up here an hour. He's got to ride an hour back or more. And we're sitting here again on a Sunday doing a live video. We already did on YouTube, and now we're doing a podcast in between our hectic lives and our full-time jobs. So the patron members are the reason that keep pushing us to sit down here, put the mics in front of us, and get this content out. We do love it, but it's a grind. And Big Daddy Kane, on his full-time job, also runs the Law-Abiding Biker store. And I said it on the video, and then I'm going to let him get into the products, because he's way more knowledgeable about these products than me. That's why he's the store operations manager. When you guys are buying from the store, as we grow, we try to tell people, it used to be kind of, you dealt with me. You don't deal with me. I don't have... I help with the store as far as promotions and videos and testing products. I don't deal with the store and the physical inventory. It's 100% reliant on Big Daddy Kane. He is the store operations manager. He's got Grunt working down there, Scooters helping, and I won't get into that. Fuente's helping too here and there, and he was. So we've got guys, and he runs all those guys down there. So when you're dealing with the store guys and you have questions or anything like that, understand, I don't even see that. You're not dealing with me. I run the podcast and the video production and the member, of course, patrons are dealing with me in the private Facebook group. So there you go. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but that is Big Daddy, and he is the man, and he's really knowledgeable and keeps that store running squeaky efficient. So Big Daddy Kane, why don't, before we get into your trip, let's just jump right in and you just go over the products that we went over today and what it's about. Roll, buddy. I'm going to drink a beer while you're talking for once.
Yeah, and don't consider this really a promotional talk about the store products, because this is the reason why we decided to do this, because this is actually part of the experience with the Indian ride, because if you don't have your bike set up correctly to begin with on these rides, it can make the difference between a pleasurable trip and a non-pleasurable trip. So these are the stuff that I carried on this. Normally, I would have ridden my 2018 Harley-Davidson Road Glide Special. I love that bike. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'3", 275 pounds. I'm a big guy, so I like the way my Road Glide goes out. But one of the deals I decided to do was to ride this Indian, which is normally my bike I ride around town, or I run down here real quick, etc. And so I wanted to make sure it was set up correctly and I had the stuff I needed. So first things first, obviously, biker gripper. We have a couple variations. We have the perch mount or control mount version. And yes, that will work on the Indian. That version comes with two different sets of bolts, one imperial or standard and one metric. And it will work with the Indians, the Victories. I had one on my Victory as well. I use the universal handlebar mount version on mine. It's just a preference. I like the way it fits and does a little better. So I went with that. And that's important to me because, number one, it holds my cell phone. I'm always kind of, people say, well, why do you need to have your cell phone out there and look, or why are you looking at it? That's unsafe. That's not why I do it. I do it because, number one, I don't want it in my back pocket. And when I do have it in my back pocket, I'm always reaching behind me. Like, oh, is it still there? Is it still there? With this biker gripper, I know it's there. And if somebody does... And GPS maps, you're totally allowed to look at your phone for, tons of guys use it for GPS maps when you're riding. Yeah, and I've used it even when a message does come through, like just to check on me to see how things are going. Even though I may not reply, I can at least see it. Right. And see if it's an emergency, or better yet, when we're on these 8-day trips, we are running, which we have in our store, the Senna products, our Senna headsets. I can look, when it just rings in your helmet, you don't know who's calling. So I can look and go, oh, it's the wife, it's the kid. I'm gone for 8 days. Like, I want to check on my family, and I can see real quick, oh yeah, I'm answering that one. Or it's some 1-800-900 number trying to charge my credit card like usual. Yeah. Because I've been on 1-900. Do they even have those anymore? I don't know. Dude, remember that was a thing when we grew up. Calls all the time, so who knows? Remember the 1-900 numbers, dude, when we grew up? Taking it back, there was a 1-900. We didn't have, you could call the 1-900 numbers and have phone sex. Not that I ever participated in that, but that was before the interwebs and before you could have a phone. Now you can actually do it visually, apparently, is what I've heard. I'm happily married. But I don't think my dad even had long distance on the phone when probably I was a kid. So I never called it because my dad would have beat the shit out of me. If he came up on the bill and saw 100, my dad would have beat the shit out of me. All right, anyways, I digress. But yeah, calling the fam and being in connect and seeing what song's coming up next on you're running Apple Music. I just stream music while I'm riding. So it has a lot of very good uses. Yeah. And so that's what I run. So I'm running the universal, chrome universal mount, and we have that in black and chrome, but you can run the perch mount just as well. We have a lot of black perch mounts in stock, so readily available. Chrome perch mounts right now are back ordered. So I appreciate the emails, people asking me when they're going to be available. I just don't know at this point in time. And of course, this is a couple months down the road. You may very well check, and we may have 50 or 100 in stock. So it just depends. But and honestly, the black's a little bit cheaper. And I know that a lot of people like chrome. We get it. That's why we carry them. But honestly, I don't know how many people actually pay attention to whether your biker gripper's chrome or black, guys. But nonetheless, we have it available. It's just on back order, basically, because of manufacturing. But yeah, just think about it. The black's a little bit cheaper. It works the same, and it probably
we're our worst critics on our own bikes. We think everybody notices every little thing. I found that not to be true.
Yeah.
You just you know everything about your bike. You look at other people's bike, you just give it a glance. You're like, yeah, it's a good looking bike, but you don't look at every little thing. So anyways, I just want to say that, but yeah.
Yeah. Second product that really made my ride more comfortable was my Zero 3D drink holder.
Sorry, I want to talk about Zero 3D. I just because I was thinking about it. I don't like to interrupt you, but I'm going to do it anyways. If you guys want to know when this podcast came out, a couple of weeks ago we released, so I don't want to talk about any more about the biker gripper because it's not necessary. It's been out for a long time. If you want to get every little detail about it and find out what it'll work for, maybe what you should pick, whether you pick universal, whether you pick perch mount, how that installs, what it looks like once installed. I did a very detailed, updated video, popped it a couple weeks ago. It's on the channel. If you want to get it easily, just go to our store, go to Biker Gripper. It's below all the listings. We always put videos on those products, and you can get very detailed. So enough said about Biker Gripper. Zero 3D cup holder.
Yeah. There's a couple different variations of that. First of all, within the normal drink holder, there's the all black, and then there's the black and chrome. It really depends what you like. I like the all black version where the top plastic ring is actually black. On my bike, I actually have a return that somebody returned because they installed it and then they realized that they wanted the handlebar mount.
Oh, okay.
So I went ahead and took it as a return, even though they had mounted it, and I just installed it on my
Big
Indian.
Daddy Kane taking care of people. See?
And they ordered the bar mount that they wanted, and so instead of trying to put it back into stock, I just went ahead because we always tell people when you order stuff from us, you're going to return it. It has to be new and unused. You can't mount it and then expect that you're going to return it.
That's not just our store. Yeah, it's pretty standard.
But in this case, this guy was a longtime customer with a lot of purchases, and so I knew very well that he was going to order the other item, and he did, and shipped this back. So I used it. So, but there's several variations for that. When you come to the drink holders, obviously, other than the color, which is black or the black and chrome, there's the control/perch mount, and you don't have to worry that if you have a Harley or a Suzuki or a Yamaha or a Victory or an Indian, as long as you have the control perch mount style mounting with the two bolts with the C-clamp version.
Just like Harley and Indian both have.
Yep.
Victory had it. Yeah.
Yep. You can use this because the kit comes with two types of bolts, standard or imperial, and of course metric.
I always call them American, and people are like, it's standard SAE. No, it's American. I just because it's just how I grew up. I don't mean anything by that, people. Okay, it's standard SAE.
But the perch mounts will work for either one as long as it's that type. And you can see Ryan in the product. Ryan actually has a video where he shows how to install it and stuff like that.
Yep, on our cup holders. Yeah, good call.
And then we have the universal mounts versions as well, and those come in 7/8 to 1 inch
for universal round bar mount, just like our biker gripper. Yeah.
Yep, it's 7/8 to 1 inch or 1 1/4. And I will tell you that pretty cool thing. Fuente. A couple of weeks ago, we had our Red Mountain meeting.
Soaring Few. Yeah.
Yeah. We had our meeting at the store. We had Olive Garden come in.
That's so cool, dude. Wished I could have made that.
Yeah, we did. We had Olive Garden come in. We ate, and there was kids there and everything. Well, he ended up buying a Zero 3D cup holder in a 1 1/4, and he didn't want it on his bars.
Probably stole it.
So no, he paid for it. I did the invoice.
I'm just teasing. I know.
But he actually put it on his 1 1/4 inch factory 47s. I think is what he called them. Saddlebag guards.
Yeah. Okay.
So he mounted it right to his saddlebag guards, and he's loving it because he didn't want it on his bar.
A lot of people put them there. You can just reach behind you and grab your water bottle.
I think it just depends what your width is. I've never really measured the width of the Harley ones.
Right.
I think it's 5/8. So I don't know our cup holders. Our cup holders are 7/8 to 1 inch. So
we should check that sometime.
We should.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just interesting. So we have all those different, variations. And then of course we have the passenger mounts, which I don't have on my bike, but obviously we carry those in stock, 13 and older and 14 and newer. And we got a video coming out
for your full ultra full class, your full touring with the trunk. Basically, in a nutshell, they pinch in between your wraparound passenger backrest. Nobody else does it. Ciro, their design team is amazing. When I saw it, I was like, and we put it on, I was like, that is so sexy. Like the thought that went into that to make sure it doesn't, because a lot of the weird Harley passenger shit just looks clunky. This is so sleek, and it's just a little metal bar with that ball on it, and it pinches in between that backrest. It uses the stock bolts, and it comes right out nicely. Justin Oscar's using it right now. His wife absolutely loved it. She's been testing it, and his kid, his daughter, she loves riding. He sent me a picture of it. She's got her drink up in there. So, that's a really cool product. Really cool. And a video will be coming. It's in the hopper along with lots of other videos.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We haven't really promoted it, and we've been selling it pretty well. I mean, we sold it even before. People who have the full baggers with the speakers and stuff, and they're taking their wives with them. Their wives want to be comfortable too, and we've got those in stock. But
your wife may want to have a margarita back there, drinking a margarita.
Yeah, why not? Why not? It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Check
right?
your local and state laws on that.
Yeah. And so we covered that. Oh, and I think the last thing is probably one of the most important things for me, other than obviously the cell phone holder is important, and so is the cup holder, but my toolkits.
Real quick, before you move to toolkits, I'm going to back you up real quick. So did you talk about the big ass?
I forgot.
Talk about big ass and then ball mounts, that they are interchangeable.
Oh yeah. So, Ciro came out this spring with a second cup, drink holder that, it's larger. Now I run the smaller one. I like the looks of the smaller one. It works really perfect for my small bottles of water or my bottles of iced tea. But they now have, it's called the big ass.
And it's big ass.
It's big. It's big.
I like it. It's just big.
And the thing is it's all up to preference. The idea behind the big ass was that it could hold those bigger cups, those insulated type.
Big Yetis and crap.
Thermos and those brand cups. And in fact, one of our patrons has one. And on the ride, he was...
Tim Tilson.
Yeah, and he was...
And his wife, Andrea.
Yeah, and also Dave King has one. Mm-hmm. And the thing that's cool about it is that you can interchange it. The balls are interchangeable. So if you're just running your bike around town and you don't want this, because it is a quite larger cup holder. So
be a great passenger one for sure. The big ass, because you got lots of room.
Yeah, and so what I was thinking, is when you're running around town, you have the small one so you can have your coffee or you have that. But when you're out on the long open road, you can turn around and buy this, and then, turn around and you just exchange.
That's what I'm going to do.
All you do is unscrew and do the ball. And people would say, well, can you sell just basket only? They do. Ciro does. Everything we get is as a complete kit. But here's what I mentioned to a guy, and he agreed with me. He did it. I said, you already have a universal mount, regular cup holder, right? And he's like, yeah. I said, buy a perch mount for not very much more money.
Right.
Buy the big ass perch mount, and now you have both mounts. So if you ever sell your bike, you can take that off, and you'll always have the option of perch mount or universal mount. And be honest with you, the difference between the cost of just buying the basket only or buying the entire kit. To have the option to have backup parts and changes, because I will tell you, and you see some of these emails, but most of them come into the sales folder. I don't know how many times a week I get a deal and they say, hey, I just bought a new bike. I have a control mount, but now I need a universal. Do you just sell just the mount? Or, hey, I have this Ciro cup holder and I had a universal, but now I need a perch. Do you just sell the mount? And understand, people, we don't sell just the mounts because we buy everything as for resale. Mm-hmm. It's packages. And you can get that stuff from Ciro, and that's what we do. We refer them for the mounts. But when I mention that to people, I'm like, just buy the kit. And now you have both for the rest of your days,
And or another bike. The beautiful part about having an extra, a lot of guys have more than one bike. Throw the extra mount. That way you can switch your cup holder between. Or if you have a passenger, throw the big ass on back and the little one up front. And then if you're riding by yourself, just pop the big ass, put it up front. Anyways, they're all interchangeable and good points. Yeah. Good points. All right. Let's move along we tied that up. Yeah. Black and chrome versions, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. All in stock. Good to go.
And I think the last thing is very important for people to have And we've got a couple options for you, of course, based on what you want to spend and price bike. We always try to give you options.
And yes, we use this on this trip. We avoided tow trucks, guys, on this trip because of this toolkit. So yeah, pay attention here.
Yeah, we have been a Cruise Tools dealer for quite a while, and you guys have seen our videos.
We pick them, by the way.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we had options. We had several options from several Asian companies,
less than credible companies
that were dying for us to carry their stuff, and we specifically chose Cruise Tools after speaking to the manager and using their toolkits on for almost a year.
Yeah, we bought them long before we put them in our store,
and then before I finally tested them. Approached the then owner. Now it's a new company owns them, but yeah. So we have 4 variations total. We have the Harley-Davidson full toolkit.
Roll kits, guys, roll toolkits, and we've done videos on it in the store, so go ahead.
Yep, so we have the Harley-Davidson full kit. We have the Harley-Davidson Outbacker folding multi-tool kit, and we also now have the metric kit, and that's what I carry in my bag. It's the same
the Indian, right?
Yeah, it's the same as the Harley. It's the full kit other than it's metric. And any metric bike it will work with. So
all the common tools that Indian, you would use on a metric repair.
Victory, Honda, Yamaha.
Cowie.
Yeah. Now there is a separate kit that we don't carry for Beamers and Triumphs.
That's right.
Because they have a little bit different, as far as they're metric.
They just use different sizes.
They have different, tools or different types of, instead of Torx, they may be using Stars or something. But this kit that would work with it. What they told me is they said this kit would work with even the BMWs and Triumphs just fine. It's just that there'll be certain things that we would want included in that kit that aren't going to be included in the basic metric.
That makes sense. Yep.
So this metric kit will cover basically everything. And I carried that, and they're a great kit. They have everything that you're going to need. I get a lot of people that buy these kits and they say, well, I didn't have any tools at all because I'm not really a repair kind of guy, and I bought your kit and I use it to do my maintenance and everything, and you're just like, wow,
Popeye last night, we were out doing a podcast and he's like, dude, my shop is separate from my main garage where I park my motorcycle. And he goes, I was too lazy to walk to my shop and get the tools. So I just popped the Cruise tools and just use that instead. I've done that. You're just like, I don't want to go all the way across and we're so lazy, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, that's the full kit. And now we have the folding metric
multi-tool.
Mm-hmm. And I was pretty impressed with that. When I first got that, I wasn't so sure. I was
Oscar loved it.
What's it going to have as far as the tools needed for the metric? Right. And I turned around and played with it and put it on my Indian, and I was like, oh, yep, that works.
And what we do with that is we roll that up, the multi-tool, right up in the roll fold kit. So it duplicates a few tools, but the nice thing about it is Oscar loved it because we're on the side of the road, just out the north rim of the Grand Canyon. It'll be in the documentary film when I get that done. We had to take his whole stage 1 off because his bolts to the crank breathers loosened up and it was rattling. And he liked it. He actually said, I didn't tell him anything about it. I threw him my toolkit. It's all greasy now. Rolled up with everything in it. He unrolled. I just said, use it. I didn't tell him, make sure I said, use what you want, use it how you would use it. And I filmed it all, of course. And he actually made the comment when he was using it. He goes, I actually like having this extra multi-tool because it gives you leverage. You can put it out at an L angle, basically, so it looks like an L. And it gives you some leverage that you wouldn't otherwise have with some of, with the Allens and things like that. So anyways, we roll that right up in the toolkit. It makes a good combo kit.
And I'm going to tell you another tool that's in that full kit, even though we were just discussing the folding.
The roll kit. Yeah.
Yeah. The roll kit is that mini ratchet. Oh, I used that on this ride to tighten up. I used that to tighten up something on the Indian, and I don't even remember now what it was.
Oscar used that too. It's all greasy.
I turned around and used it, and you can actually, I can't even remember what I used it for. I was just wanting to double check some bolts because I had just I had just done the maintenance on it and stuff like that. And so I grabbed it to tighten something. Oh, it was the mirrors.
Yep.
It was the mirrors. I was adjusting the mirrors with it. And I was like, holy shit, this is perfect.
Oscar used that too on his repair that would have, his bike wasn't running all that great. So yeah, that little ratchet, and it's all greasy. So I want a new toolkit, Big Daddy, because mine's all greasy. It looks used now. So
just take some.
Somebody can buy half price my greasy kit.
Take some alcohol and just clean it.
Oscar should have did that, bastard.
He should have. Hey, by the way, those folding toolkits are a steal. 1995.
The multi-tools, yes.
Multi-tool.
Yep.
1995.
That is a steal.
That is.
If that's all you get started with, have that at least if you can't afford the roll kit.
At a minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 1995. And we have quite a few of those metrics in stock, and we have more coming. So
and tons of Harley ones. We sell the bejesus out of those.
When that video hits, if you do happen, and of course this is after the fact, I realize that. But if you do ever happen to go there, just be patient with us because we have so much space and we try to stock a little bit of everything. Yep. So if you do go to the store and it's not there,
give it a couple days.
Give me some time because usually I already have it on order and it's just a matter of getting it in. So
yep. We're not Revzilla. We're not JP Cycles. Excuse me, neck bubble. Neck bubble. We're not JP
Lurch,
Cycles. We're not Revzilla. Yeah, please edit that out, Lurch. We're small guys. We're bootstrap company guys just trying to help bikers. And that's why he just mentioned customer names. He knows customers. I know customers. I know patron members. Like, yeah, we're going to grow in the future when we retire someday from our Leo jobs and we plan on growing. But right now, we're smaller, we're bootstrap, and we're just trying to help bikers. So with that said, do this real quick, Big Daddy.
Hey, bikeaholics searching for new and exciting motorcycle products? Cyril 3D has the products you dream about for your bike. Check out their wide variety of innovative products for Harley-Davidson and Goldwing motorcycles. Cyril 3D's got your back with chrome and black parts, lighting, and other comfort products. No modifying, cutting, grinding, or welding for an easy installation. That equals less time installing and more time riding. Cyril 3D has a design team of riders with over 40 years of experience with a passion for design and innovation. Cyril Gold Strike are the motorcycle LED motorcycle innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play systems and compatibility. They pride themselves on great customer service. You got a question? Ryan, you got a question? Yeah, I can tell you how to get in touch with them via email at sales@cyril3d.com or give them a call at 715-808-0027. Check out your local Harley or Honda dealership and ask for Cyril Gold Strike parts. A new leader has emerged, so check out Cyril 3D's custom line of Gold Strike products for all the new Honda Goldwings. Better yet, help support us and head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store and check out our full line of Cyril 3D products.
Yeah, buddy, that was sexy, dude. That was sexy. That's your sexy voice. There you go. All right, wrap it up with our last thing, and then we're going to get into your Indian deal, and that's the tire gauge, right?
Yeah, and the tire gauge, obviously. Tire gauge. 1995,
Cruise
made by Cruise Tools.
Not digital, which is nice because no batteries. Digital, always ready to go in your saddlebag. Yep. I had some digital ones in the past, and I like them. We may bring the digital one to our store. I hadn't talked to you about that yet. They are a great option.
They are.
And they're smaller. But I oftentimes it was out of batteries. And so I forgot to change the batteries. And that one's always going to work. It's a dial gauge, right?
Yeah.
Long hose.
I like the analog version better.
Absolutely.
And I was thinking about putting the digital in as well.
I think some guys want it.
But, we had to start somewhere.
Right.
And we want, a lot of people are used to the traditional style because it looks a lot like the one you might get at the dealership manufactured one, but you're going to, instead of paying $19.95, you're going to pay $39.95.
Exactly.
And
the Harley tax.
It has this black and orange symbol on it that's trademarked. So exactly. It's your choice, man.
It's your choice.
If your choice. They all come from the same factory. I'm pretty sure.
Exactly. Totally, dude. Well said. So we got the Cruise Tools version. It's got the long hose on it for getting in those pesky rear tires underneath the saddlebags, even some of the front, depending on what kind of wheels. And it has a release valve on it. So if you put too much air in your tire, you just push the release valve. You can bleed some air. It does have the dial gauge. And the best part is it's got the big rubber casing around it. So, which I have because I'm just in a hurry and my life's chaotic and I drop everything. And it survived, and because it has the rubber casing. So there you go, the Cruise Tool tire gauge. All right. Anything else? And then we're going to dive in.
No, I'm ready to get into this.
All right, our second topic, guys. And anything we talked about, obviously, you can go to our store if we didn't. You guys know that. Just go search it up and all that kind of stuff. It's all there along with videos and all kinds of useful information. Big Daddy Kane decided this year he was going to ride his, what year?
2018 Indian Chieftain
Limited. Cross country or multiple states, I should say, not necessarily cross country this year, but many states up here in the Northwest and to the South. And instead of his Road Glide Special. And he did that because he has both bikes, and he really, I'm glad he did, because I really wanted to do this episode and get his take on what he liked about it, what he didn't like about it in comparison to his Harley. And again, I want to make sure this isn't a bashing session on either. This is just real bikers talking about what works, what doesn't work, what's great for touring, what's not great for touring. So how did you decide to do that? Was it just so we could do an episode, or something personal? You were like, I really want to try this.
I wanted to see the difference. I mean, I've done several trips with road glides, the red one before the fire.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I've done one with the white one. And
last year.
I wanted to see the difference. I wanted to see, I mean, obviously, fundamentally, they're different bikes, because the road glide is a fixed fairing, and the Chieftain, of course, is a, not
more like a street glide.
Yeah, it's not frame mounted fairing. So I knew that there was going to be some difference there. Originally, I was going to take the road glide because of the size. It offers a lot more room for me as far as things go.
And you're how tall?
6'3".
So there you go. That puts in perspective for the listeners. Tall guy. So it makes a difference. It might have been different for me being 5'8".
I mean, when I get on your street glide, I feel like I'm in the dash.
Yep.
And that's the way I am with this Indian, except for I get used to it. When I ride the Indian, like if I'm riding, like the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I've been riding nothing but the road glide.
Mm-hmm.
So when I jumped on the Indian today, I was like, man, why is this dash in my face? But after I ride for a little bit, then I get used to it.
Yep. Gotcha.
But that was the main purpose. I wanted to see the difference. I wanted to give it a real world test. There's a lot of people that say, well, these Indians are for touring, just like the street glides or the ultras and stuff like that. And they are, I get it. But I wanted to really test it. I wanted to road test it, see how well it did, and give my perspective of what was better between the two bikes, having ridden a lot of miles. I mean, last year, doing 5,800 miles in, 8, 9, 10 days.
On our Midwest trip. Yeah. We hammered down.
That was a great test for that road glide.
Yeah.
This trip for me was a little bit shorter, 2,500 in 5 days?
For you, it was 3,000 for us. Yeah. He came back early. We'll talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a little bit different, but it was still a good test. So it'll be fun to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, real quick, as we set this up, I want to make sure seats. Are you running stock seat on your Indian?
Stock seat.
How about your road glide?
My road glide now has a LAB Daddy long legs on it.
Last year, though, when you rode your road glide,
it had brand new Daddy long legs. It was a brand new seat.
So we won't be able to talk seats too much, because we can't compare a stock seat with
because I'm going to tell you that.
What seat is it?
On the road
your
glide?
RG, yeah.
Oh, it's a LAB Daddy long legs.
Do they sell those at our affiliate at Revzilla?
They do, and the reason why I went with
I'll put a link in the show notes
instead of Mustang is because they actually use real leather, and it's more set up like a Corbin. It's a firmer foam type deal, and I just think they look sexy as hell.
I will put an affiliate link in here. I do see the Daddy long legs in here. In case you guys are interested, please use our affiliate link.
I have the one with the backrest, but
I'll just do an affiliate link to the entire search results.
Daddy long legs right there.
Nice.
It's a cool seat.
Okay.
But for the first 1,500 miles last year, it was put on a week before. It was my butt was hurting a little bit for the first 1,500 miles. It wasn't broken.
It wasn't broken in yet?
Well, no, I just put it on like 3 days before the ride. And when you have those high density foam type seats, they take time to break in,
I'm putting an affiliate link if you guys are wondering what I'm doing. Oops. There. Show notes. All right. So we won't be able to definitely compare seats. So that's what I want to know. Any other, I don't think there's any, you have bars on your road glide?
Yes, I have. Yeah. I have a 13-inch
bars
apes on it, and my Indian is basically all stock, other than the exhaust, the headers, and the
EFI tuner and stuff that we did. Stuff, we got videos on that, guys. Okay, so that gives me perspective and the audience perspective. So we'll have to be careful about those comparisons because they're not stock. So, all right. So out of the chute, bro, tell me how this is going day one, dude. Speak of this, different size fuel tanks, right?
Yes.
Which did that create an issue? or may it create an issue? I know we stopped enough because we had somebody riding in our group that he's going to get a touring real quick cowboy. Nobody makes it in the Sworn Few MC more than a year without upgrading to an actual touring bike because he was miserable on many days. But with that said, he had a smaller tank, so we were stopping enough. But we run about, on my glide, my street glide 14 does really good. It's tuned out. I literally can get most of the time, depending on elevation and stuff, 220 to 240. So where are you at? It's a smaller tank.
Well, the fact of the tank being smaller, it's a 5.5 gallon versus a 6 gallon.
Okay.
That did not play into function like I thought it was going to.
Oh, really?
Did not play into function as much as I thought it was going to. And I was carrying a gallon of gas in my saddlebag. What I am disappointed in, and I knew this going into it, but that Indian is a gas hog.
Yeah.
It's a gas hog.
You were saying that.
There's
the 111 Thunderstroke it's got in it.
Yeah, it's, at some point on day 1 and 2, as we were going down through the mountains and stuff like that, because we were limited to speed about 60, 65, I was getting some of the best gas mileage I've ever gotten on that bike. I was getting about 42, 43 miles a gallon. But I can tell you that on the way back, I was getting 32 to 35. I usually get about 35, but with that headwind, I mean, I was eating fuel. That's one of the reasons why on a long trip, I probably won't take it again.
Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah,
because it was almost like, geez, I mean, this thing is just eating fuel. And I know from experience with my Road Glide, I can get 40,
same as me,
38 to 45.
Absolutely.
And it's got that 6 gallon tank and I can go forever.
Yep.
It's a gas hog.
Yeah.
And you can't say, well, it's because you've put Freedom Performance headers and you got Cobra mufflers on it and the EFI.
I did all that on my Harley and it still gets 40 plus.
Because when it was stock, it was a gas hog.
Good.
So that's one of the things that I was a little disappointed in, but just up front talking about the fuel, and maybe there's different experiences of different people that have different Indians.
Right.
But I'm
different environments.
This bike, I mean, it's spunky as heck, but it's a gas hog.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. So obviously not as big as an issue if you're riding with a bunch of other guys with the Indians, you can make the appropriate gas stops. But when you're riding with another group of Harleys, it became a deal where, Big Daddy carried an extra gas can just in case in a saddlebag. So, all right. I'm glad we talked about that because I remember you talking about that issue as far as gas mileage, and you were constantly monitoring it too.
Yeah.
Just because you were in a test phase of that. So, all right. So what else? Just spit at me, man, and then I'll dig in and questions.
Well, let's start with the reason why I did it was to get a comparison. And, there's obviously, everybody has their own views, and me having been a longtime Harley owner and then trying this Indian, it's a different bike, and it's not, I can't compare apples to apples. This is like apples to oranges. Yes, they're both touring bikes, but there's, fixed fairing versus the handlebar mounted fairing. So obviously the Road Glide is more comfortable to me, and especially with that fixed fairing. I will tell you the Indian was comfortable to ride. I liked the way it cornered everything. There's a lot of pluses and such. One of the things I liked on this ride about the Indian was the actual ride. Harley-Davidson really needs to step up their game on their ride, their suspension.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I just can't believe, I spent a week on that Indian with that Fox monoshock rear end and the, whatever's in the front suspension. And it was like a Cadillac. I mean, we're going through some rough roads and I'm just kind of sailing over it. And the day after I got back, I took the Road Glide into the store and I was hitting these bumps and I'm like, Jesus, this thing is rough.
Yeah.
It's just interesting that Indian is just so smooth. I mean, as far as the suspension and stuff, really smooth.
Stock suspension.
I really enjoyed the ride comfort of this Indian on this ride. One of the things I actually liked the handlebars. Traditionally,
stock,
I mean, the stock handlebar configuration and everything worked really well. At no time, of course, the way we ride, you can't always use your cruise control. Mm-hmm. At no time did I ever feel, and I probably only used cruise control maybe 20%, 25% of the ride. At no time did my right hand cramp up at all. It was really interesting. I kept waiting, and I wasn't even using a throttle boss or anything.
Yeah.
It was just the positioning was perfect for me.
Nice.
Versus on my Road Glide, most people who have Road Glides realize the first thing they got to do is trade out their bars.
Those bars are fucked up on a Road Glide. I'm just going to straight up.
Yeah, I don't get why they don't come up with just from stock a different bar. Because
they used to. That was when they came back out with it in 15. They've been running those. Their bars are stupid.
They're horrible. And so I'm running some 13-inch, apes on it, just like Lurch. So,
yep.
They're great, but they're definitely different bikes. But the other thing, like the saddlebags, I missed my Harley-Davidson saddlebags. The Indian saddlebags are not very comfortable, not at all. And I was not that impressed with the spacage I had.
Yeah, compared
to the Harley. The one thing that did make my trip very nice was that our brother from another mother, Shane at Rick Rack, put together. He took a universal Rick Rack trunk or bag mount, and he kind of altered it a little bit. He does this at the rallies for Indian owners.
Yeah,
he doesn't necessarily sell a Indian luggage rack combo kit,
right?
But if they come there, he'll take a universal and he'll make it work, and then stuff like that. He basically made this kit for somebody else, and he sent it to me and added a bag to it. And so I really appreciate that, Shane. So I want to make sure he gets a shout out.
Yeah.
And because he's an advertiser with us, that's like truly, it made the difference on my trip.
Is he going to, or is that something we're testing and we may actually have that as a kit for Indian owners or not?
That's what we've been in the talks of.
Okay.
But the problem is that the Indian rack, even though he put this together for me, it was not perfect. The Indian rack is really odd.
The luggage rack, right?
Because even when I had it installed, you know how your King 2 Up goes into the King 2 Up luggage rack, and the insert into the front, it fully inserts.
Yes, right.
This Indian one doesn't fully insert. Was it enough? Yes.
Okay.
But you just got to understand that the way that the luggage rack, and we'll look to it afterwards, you'll see the way it is. It's not like the Harley where it's flat. It kind of does this little, pointed bevel deal. So he was able to put something together for me, and it made all the difference. Because I'm going to tell you, those Indian luggage bags or saddlebags are not very big.
Yep. So I saw that you got to rock the Rick Rack system on your Indian.
I rocked it,
one of a kind,
and it worked really well. And but there's some benefits also about the saddlebags with the Indian too. Is I love the remote locking and unlocking. You guys are all taking your keys out and doing this, and I'm just locking it and walking away.
Should be standard on Harley.
And at some point, one of the guys, I can't remember who it was, they're like, "Aren't you going to lock your bags?" I said, "I already did."
Yeah, that's badass. I wish Harley would do that, dude. Damn it.
Yeah,
I do like that.
So that was pretty cool. But there's definitely, as far as things go, I mean, the Indian was very pleasurable. It was a nice ride. I just can't say enough about the way that bike rides.
Yep.
It's like the difference between a expensive Cadillac and a Chevy Caprice.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I'm not saying that Harleys are cheap. I'm just saying Harley.
They need a better shock.
They
There's
could
nothing wrong with
definitely
that.
step up their game
when
it comes to the suspension.
And the point being, you're right, because Goat was up here last weekend, and we filmed a aftermarket rear shock install on his Road Glide because the rear shocks pretty much suck. A lot of times, you know what I mean? As far,
he said that when he did that
they
ride
work
to the wall,
that's why
that was the deciding factor. And I'll be honest with you, like I said, I haven't touched this Indian since I got back. I just let it sit there, and I've been riding the Road Glide. And every time I get on that Road Glide and I'm riding down the road and it's pop, 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 I'm just like, man, I wish this thing rode like the Indian. I'm not saying that if I had to choose and if you guys pulled me on it and I had to pick one bike, I know where I'm going with that. Mm-hmm. But I'm just telling you, this Indian is a good quality bike. It rides really nice. Plenty of power. Still, I think they could do something a little bit better on the top end. I mean, it's got a lot of low end torque, but even when we were passing some of the semis and stuff, I could keep up with you guys, but it was pretty well obvious that obviously the Harley motor has a little bit better on the higher, the higher speeds, higher, RPMs and stuff, but
it's fair.
It was comfortable. One of the things that I used a lot on this trip, and I never really used it before, was the electronic adjustable windshield.
Oh yeah. I forget that.
I used it a lot, especially when it got hot. When we were down in Utah, and we got out of the mountains and out of Olympic Park and way back, I'm telling you, man, that was awesome, because I usually leave it all the way up, and it got so hot in certain areas, and I noticed I wasn't getting a lot of air into my helmet, and so I just hit the button and reduced it down about 2 inches, and all of a sudden I just had a rush of air coming in my Nolan helmet vents.
Yeah, nice.
That was nice.
That is cool. I like that some of the manufacturers do that, and I like that functionality. The thing I don't like necessarily about it is it kind of limits you on what windshields you can buy aftermarket.
Oh, well, this is Clockworks makes this one.
Yeah, Clockworks makes that one, right?
Clockworks,
but it limits you a little bit because it's got to work with the up and down, right?
No, it mounts just like a normal deal. It mounts just like a normal windshield. It just
what's different about the Clockworks one you bought?
It has the Clockworks one.
Is that flared?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, what they do is it's called the Indian flared windshield. It's made by Clockworks, or you can buy the windshield directly from Clockworks.
I will put this.
I bought mine directly from
links.
Clockworks. So.
Okay. All right.
And so I did it. I actually did use that, and I enjoyed it. I really dug the adjustable windshield. I used it several times when it got really hot, and I would lower that down. Because when you were up in the mountains and we were up there where the road ended, I had it all the way up. And then once we came down and it got down, it was like 90 degrees, 92 degrees.
Warmed up quick.
I lowered it down City, and I was like, holy smokes, man. So that was pretty cool. I liked that part of it. I got a lot of comments. It was funny when we were in the hotel in Boise.
Yeah.
Some guy out of nowhere just walked up to me. He's like, hey, is that, because we were all wearing our motorcycle clothes still. He's like, hey, you must be the Indian guy. And I'm looking at him like, yeah, that's because the shirt says Indian.
Right, yeah. No, I'm not Indian. Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah, man, that's a cool bike. And, I have a Harley, but, man, I sure do like that bike. And Matt walked up to me, and he's like, what's going on? And I go, like I told you guys on the one podcast, it doesn't matter. Wherever I go, it seems like at least one person likes the look of that Indian. Right.
My wife loves it. She knows nothing, doesn't know shit about motorcycles. She just loves the look of the Indian.
Yeah, and I like this version. I mean, I've spent a lot of time looking at the new ones that look like the Street Glide.
Right.
I don't really care for those in particular too much. And if our listeners do like those, that's fine.
Yeah, personal opinion.
I'm not judging that. I just like that this doesn't look like a Street Glide.
Yep, I agree. I agree with you on that comment for sure. Very interesting. All right, let's do this real quick, and then I got some. I definitely have some follow-up questions here on this, bro. Bro, how you want to do this in your sexy voice again?
Yeah. Are you searching for the easiest and quickest detachable luggage system for your motorcycle? Rick Rack has just what you're looking for. Forget all those frustrating straps and bungee cords that can come loose and slap your paint. Check out one of Rick Rack's awesome quick attached strapless luggage rack systems. This father and son team designed something really special that you can't find anywhere else. Yep, and these guys ride, so they truly understand the needs of bikers. The Rick Rack quick attach system is strong, durable, and secure with a lockable system. Also check out their full line of quality touring bags to accompany their quick detached system. Once you use a Rick Rack, you'll never go back.
Rick Rack!
What are you waiting for, bikeaholics? Head on over to the Law Abiding Biker store and check out our full line of Rick Rack systems and bags. Very easy to find, too. lawabidingbiker.com/store. Rick Rack.
Oh, nice. Way to wrap it up there, Big Daddy. And he's the one that's going to be shipping them suckers that take up a lot of space in our store. So buy them so we can free up some shelf space. All right. Anyways.
Absolutely. I just put 16 of them in there and I'm out of space.
I remember when we were moving in there, we were stacking those, trying to figure out where to stack them things. So, we'll get them shipped to you guys, though. Big Daddy will hook you up. All right. So tell me this, as we wind down here. I remember you specifically dealing with an oil thing. Like, something. I had to hold your bike a couple times, and you were worried about oil. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I was so busy filming the documentary film. It just seems like, what's the deal with this? Am I wrong?
No, you're right. Here's the deal. Harley-Davidsons to check the oil are very simple, whether it's on the kickstand or whether it's centered in a lift or whatever.
Most of them have two levels, kickstand or straight upright. Yeah.
You just pull the oil gauge out and it tells you hot or cold, kickstand or not. The Indian, to check the oil, it has to be upright. It also has to be hot. You can't do it as a cold. And not only does it have to be hot, but you have to follow a certain procedure. And it just seems...
This is what I remember now.
And it just seems silly. So what happened was when I left for the trip, the bike had 2,300 miles on it. I fired it up, warmed it up. I had the 500-mile service done on it. All new bikes...
Is that the break-in service?
Yeah.
Okay.
All new bikes eat a little bit of oil when they're new, while they're breaking in and the rings are setting and stuff like that. Even Justin said that his police BMW bike went through oil. It just happens. We're not talking like you're pouring quartz down it.
Right.
But so before the trip, I checked the oil and it was low. And to check the oil on the Indian, and the Victory was the same way.
Was it? Okay, that's good to know.
You have to run it for about 5 minutes, or it has to be then you have to wait 1 minute for it to settle because it goes into the sump pump. Then you check it while it's hot. If you do not check it within 3 minutes, you have to restart the entire procedure again, or you might not get an accurate oil level.
So run it 5 minutes, let it sit 3.
No. It has to be hot. So they're saying run it for about 5 minutes or at the end of your ride.
Okay, get it hot.
You have to wait 1 minute.
1 minute, okay.
And then you can check it, but it has to be centered. But
it has to be up, not on the kickstand. Okay.
Yes. Good. But if you don't check it within 3 minutes, you basically have to refire it up
and get it going
and
again.
Start the whole procedure.
It's very interesting. And I think it has to do something with their one hole system. If you guys don't know that, we have a Indian maintenance oil change video, and filming that, I remember it's a one hole drain, right?
Yeah.
Where Harley, there's 3 drains.
Yeah. They've got 2 drains on the Indian.
Okay, that's right.
But one's for they're both the same thing. One's for the collection.
That's right.
There's a collection. The sump pump.
That's right. A sump plug and
whatever they call it. I'm going to call it something.
Yeah.
But they so I check it before I leave, and I ended up putting like a half a quart in it. And so we're on the ride.
You think that's just break-in?
I think so, because I've talked to John Patton since then, and he's
one of our patron members from Canada.
Yeah. But so the interesting thing is that so we're riding on day one or day 2. And Matt, who brags of having a very peculiar nose, he says he can smell things that others can't.
Such a bullshitter. What a bullshit. And no, Matt, you're not editing that out. You're a bullshitter. No, I'm just teasing.
He's talking about how, he sees me checking my oil. And he's like, "Are you burning oil?"
He kept asking me, I don't smell shit. What are you talking about?
And I'm like, "I don't think so." And he's like, "Dude, I smell oil." And I was right behind you. And so I started checking my oil, and I checked the oil, and the oil is at the low line, but it's still good. It says if it's anywhere between, the way Indian says is if the oil registers anywhere between here, do not add, because they don't want you to overfill it.
Right.
So my initial thought was, well, maybe I overfilled it before I left for the trip.
Initially.
And then, of course, some of that oil is going to go into the oil filter, and it's going to burn off, et cetera.
Right.
So anyhow, Victor's coming into town, into Salt Lake. And so he messages me, and he says, and he goes, "Hey, I'm going to stop by the Harley dealer." And I'm like, "Hey, stop by the Indian dealer and pick me up a quart of oil just so I have it." Mm-hmm. And so he did. But that day he's like, "I keep smelling this oil. I keep smelling this oil." Well, Justin looks at him and says, "Well, it's probably me, because I changed my oil right before we left and I didn't wash it off or anything like that. So you're probably getting the oil from that." And he's like, "You're at the front. I'm not so sure about that." So now I'm all tripped out. Like,
that's right.
Shit.
See, now it's coming back to me.
Now my bike is, what the hell's going on here? Right. And we were riding it pretty hard. I mean, that second day we were passing on 2-lane highways, passing highways. I mean, we were hitting
a lot of miles.
I mean, obviously
we were laying down miles.
We were being safe, but there was at points where we got to the lava fields and stuff like that. At
Craters of the Moon.
Yeah. I mean, we're passing them. We're doing 80, 90 to pass these multiple semis.
Right.
And so this Indian's getting a workout like it has not gotten before. It's one thing to drive from here to the Tri-Cities and back or around town and stuff. That bike was getting a workout that day. I mean, it was 400 and something miles, and we were riding it hard.
Yep.
And so
in hot weather, absolutely.
And so anyhow, we get to Salt Lake, and so we get to Salt Lake, and the first day we go to fire it up at the Harley dealership, which I'm going to tell you was really weird for me because I'm a Harley owner. I mean, I have Harley-Davidson tattooed on my clavicle, and I'm showing up to this dealership on my Indian. And trust me, I mean, I go to my local dealership, but they all know I have both bikes.
Right.
And I'm showing up, and it's like these sales guys are like looking at me like, what are you doing here, punk? What are you doing here? But
Indian guy.
So then I'm walking in, and I'm wearing my Indian shirt, and I'm buying Harley clothes. And she's like, oh, are you going to buy a new Indian or buy a new Harley today? And I said, no, I already have one. She's like, well, why are you wearing an Indian shirt? Because I'm riding my Indian. And she's like, oh, well, that's cool. And those people were really cool at Salt Lake. Harley-Davidson.
That was where our patron really meetup started. Yeah.
But so we get there. And so I fire up my bike after we did the whole meet everybody. And Brian looks at me and he's like, yeah, you got some smoke coming out of your, right tailpipe. So now I'm like, motherfucker, what the fuck is going on with this thing?
Goat.
Why this damn oil check.
And I know how you are too, because you're like me. You get, oh, I know you do. I'm surprised Goat didn't just walk up and point.
So we go on the ride that day, right? And we get back, dude. And we get back, and so we go to Lucky 13s, right?
Yep, the food challenge. Yep, yeah. Lucky 13s in Salt Lake City.
We went and, or was that the first night?
That would have been the day before the patron meetup.
Okay,
right?
Yeah,
because we ate with the patrons. The first night that we
were there, that we pulled in the garage and stuff. So and then the next day, the patron, he says the smoke. So
no. I don't forget which day now. Anyways.
So we're going to get gas. Oh, that's what it was. We were on the way to get gas before the patron meetup. And we're at that stop sign at that raggedy old gas station that was up there on the corner, like Crack City. Instead of being called like Spiro Gas or whatever it was called, it should have been called Crack City. That place was dumb.
And it should have had an emblem of a girl with like two missing teeth, dude, smiling with like lesions, bleeding lesions on her face. Just Crack City.
That gas station was horrible. I mean, but that's when he tells me about the smoke. So that's the whole day on the patron ride, I'm thinking. And then, of course, the day before, Matt's telling me he smells oil.
Right.
So I'm like, motherfucker, this thing keeps burning oil. So we turn around and get that. Well, the next day we do, after the patron ride, I'm getting ready to leave. And Justin's like, let's check your oil. So we checked it, and it was registering fine. It was right in the line.
After you spent your 10 minutes checking it to make sure it was level and that you ran it for
He was even saying, he was like, man, he goes, this is quite the process. And I'm like, oh yeah.
It's like an engine rebuild to check your oil.
You literally, once you stop the bike, you got to have somebody hold it.
That you had me hold it. That's what
you have to have somebody hold it, and then you have to turn on. But it was low enough to where I ended up putting like a quarter of a quart into it. So I was obviously burning some oil.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, so I mean, I talked to John about it, and even Oscar was like, "No, dude, I went through a full quart on my BMW. It's just setting in and stuff like that." And I'd never really experienced that on my Harleys before.
No,
so
I haven't either.
But
not to where I ever checked it or it was noticeable.
But the funny thing is I'm thinking that it might have been a little over. I don't know that I overfilled it, because when I checked the register, it was fine. But there could have been maybe possibly, but he kept saying he smelled the oil. But on the way back, when we left Salt Lake earlier than you guys did, we left Salt Lake at the same time, but we came home. Matt, the first day Matt led, the second day I led, and he told me
Lurch led, huh? He hardly ever leads.
Yeah, he led to Boise, and then from Boise back I led.
Way to go, Lurch.
And he said he didn't smell anything. So I don't know if
it was other bikes in the group. If it was
really Oscars. I suspected it could have been Goat's, because Goat, he had that one issue, and of course they clean it up, and he had just had it serviced.
You can't clean it all.
And so I think between maybe my bike and stuff, but it is true. I did see
Lurch is full of shit. Just say it.
No, I think he was smelling it.
Lurch, we love you.
I think he was smelling it. I just don't know if it was coming because Brian had just had his bike serviced. Justin had just changed his, I think he said tranny or primary out. And so, but the thing that concerned me was it was true that one day when I first started it up cold, I did see some smoke coming out of that right tailpipe. So I did a little research on that, and it seems to be on the Indians, because it's such a high compression bike, which the Harleys are too, but it's a high compression bike. What happens is when you ride them a lot like we were and you shut them off, what ends up happening is that oil settles into the pistons or, into the, so when you fire it up cold, it's burning off that oil. And that's because that day it did that. And then there was no smoke ever seen again. And the next morning I fired up and there wasn't any smoke. So I really don't know, but I was racking my brain. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
Because it just seemed weird that I filled it up before we left, and then we get there and the line's lower than what it was, and we added a little bit of oil to it. But when I got back, I had the dealer service it because I have a prepaid service deal with them. And they serviced and they said everything was fine. So
good info. So Indian, if you're listening, because we know you listen to this podcast, you got good shocks, you got good electronic windshield and locking bags. You need to design a dipstick that can be checked on the kickstand like Harley. So there you go. Just I don't know if you can make it just a little bit longer, and all you do, Indian, is you just offset the lines to reflect that it's on its kickstand. But maybe they can't make
all the oil just goes down to
I don't know. I'm
that
just
storage area.
I don't know.
It's just it's a pain in the ass to check your oil on the Indian. It really is.
Yeah.
What if you're by yourself?
Right.
I mean, am I gonna carry a 2x6 around with me so that I can kick it under? And even if that's not completely level, it
get a center stand, bro.
The Harley was just better for that type of stuff. And this new Indian that came out, their saddlebags appear to be more
bigger,
like this. Yeah, they appear to be bigger. I mean, they appear to be more street glide-ish. I mean, that new Chieftain to me is just a street glide. I mean,
I hear
that's
you.
what it is. But
looking at it, I agree.
But I this one here, I like it because of the looks. But I think this is great for riding here. It's great for going back and forth to work. But the next big trip, I'll definitely be taking my Road Glide.
Yeah,
it's just more comfortable for me. Other than I'm going to have to eventually put shocks on it.
Yeah, well, we're testing a couple, and I may buy some different brand than what Goat did, just because we're always testing shit for you guys and trying to do videos for you guys, and it just seems the next step. So let's do this.
He went with Legends, right?
He did. We love our patrons. We want to get to know you better. We would love you to be in the private Facebook group. We'd love to get you a t-shirt and benefits and stickers and access to these early episodes. But hey, if the only way you want to support us right now is through a flat donation, of course, we never balk at a flat donation. We want to thank the following people: Gary Sikali of Plaistow, New Hampshire; Thomas Baker; Kenneth Middleton. Thank you. lawabidingbiker.com/donate. Very simple. And you certainly can leave us that flat donation. It helps put a little fuel in the Law Abiding Biker gas tank so we can keep this thing heading on down the road. So thank you, and we always appreciate those. So as we wrap it up here, is there anything we forgot? So there was the question. That was the final question. That's fine because he answered it. If we left for a trip tomorrow, Big Daddy, and I said, we got to go to Kansas because we've got to meet some patrons, or we got to meet another distributor that wants to carry stuff in our store. And I'm like, dude, we got to hammer miles. Like, we're talking 13-hour days, and you have to pack. You got like 10 minutes to pack. Which bike you taking?
Road Glide.
There you go. You heard it. And that's not, I don't want the audience to think that's a put down on Indian. I could ask that question to other members that may have both bikes, and they would quickly say Indian. So I don't want people to think that is, I love Indian. Trust me, if I had unlimited funds, and unlimited space, I would absolutely love to have a Harley. I already have a Harley. Okay. I'd love to have an Indian. I'd love to have a BMW. I'd like to have a dual sport. So it's not ever here on this podcast about one make is better than the other. And I hope we don't relate that in any way. We're just simply bikers and testing different bikes and buying different bikes. And hopefully in the future, we'll even test more bikes. It's not, you heard all the pros of the Indian, and maybe the Indian's better for somebody who's 5'8", so you heard a lot of different things. But again, that's not a put down to Indian. We support all riders. It doesn't matter what you ride, as long as your knees are in the breeze and you're living the law-abiding biker style, and you just really are passionate about the sport of motorcycling. We don't care if it's a sports bike, a crotch rocket, whatever. I would have crotch rockets. I really would. If I had space and time, I would have a couple sports bikes that I could run around town with. So I just love motorcycles, and I think everybody here just loves motorcycles. So we never keep it brand specific. That was just one opinion, and that was certainly based on some good experience of riding multiple states, thousands of miles. So yeah.
It was a very comfortable bike. It rode like a dream. I just, and maybe the 19s now address it. I haven't even... Right. Really, other than visually looked at them, I've never ridden one, but I just think that, the saddlebag storage was better on the Harley, and I just think for me at 6'3", the Road Glide would have been more comfortable,
and it would have been a different opinion if you had compared a Street Glide to the Indian, because both of them have fixed fairings and they're short.
Yes.
So remember that, guys. This is a Road Glide versus
I just truly believe
the Road Glides are for tall riders.
The Road Glide is just a fantastic touring bike, and it is a great bike. I would have no qualms about jumping on this bike and doing that trip again. I have no qualms.
When you have the option, not everybody has the option.
I'm fortunate. God has been good to me that I have two bikes, and so I get to choose.
Right.
And if I'm going to choose, I would take the Road Glide. Cruising from my house into town to the store to go fill orders, I really enjoy riding the Indian more than the Road Glide for those little short time trips. I've been, like I said, after the trip, I parked this. I'd ridden it maybe once or twice. I've been mainly riding the Road Glide, and I've had a new love affair with my Road Glide.
Yeah.
And I was literally to the point like, that's it. I just need one bike. I'm just going to keep this Road Glide. I jumped on this thing and started heading here, and I was going through the twisties along the Yakima River, going from my house into Benton City. Mm-hmm. And I was like, God dang, this thing rides like a dream.
Yeah, see?
And it corners better than my Road Glide, I think. It's more nimble than my Road Glide.
Probably because of that suspension.
Yeah, it's just, so as soon as I turn around and think that the Road Glide's better or this better, they both have they're different bikes and they have a different purpose.
Yep.
Don't think that you can't get on a Chieftain or a Chieftain Limited
and
or
West
a Roadmaster and think you can't do it. You can do it. It's just that for me, on that really long ride, especially when I was coming back from Salt Lake into Boise.
You and Lurch were laying down miles, yeah.
I absolutely many times wished I had my Road Glide. We were 35 mile per hour headwinds into our face.
Yeah.
And my my handlebars were all over the place. The damn thing was a gas hog. And many times I was thinking, I should have bought my Road Glide. I should have brought my Road Glide, because that Road Glide just cuts. Because it just cuts through. It gets better gas mileage. There was at one point that we stopped in this little town. I don't know how little, but Mountain Home in Idaho there. And I literally had 2/10 of a gallon left in my tank.
Dude.
We barely made it. And he's like, oh, I only filled up 4 gallons or something. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing is a gas hog. And it'd be interesting to see comments when this is released from other Indian owners. I've talked to a few and they tell me, oh yeah, my Indian's a gas hog. Some people love them. At the patron meetup, there was a couple Indians there, Tilson's and I can't remember. There was the black Dark Horse Chieftain.
Yep, there was that too, yeah.
And they loved them. They loved them. And I mentioned, mine's a gas hog. And the Tilsons were like, yeah, but it is what it is. I'm not putting down Indian because I own one. I like it. It's better in different ways. It's kind of like if you could have 2 women. You want the one that's a good mother and a good cook and takes care of the house, And if she's not so good in bed, then you wish you could have another one that's just used for that, you know?
God, dude. Oh, and on that bombshell, that was a nice outro, dude. Way to do it. You know, at the end of the day, guys, you know, we support everybody here, all makes, models. Ride what is best for you. And that's going to be different from everybody. We just love having these biker conversations. And, you know, you heard it from Big Daddy there, who owns both, loves both. They're just fun conversations. And hopefully it gives you guys, you know, if you are stuck between, you know, what kind of bike do you want to get? What will be your next bike? You know, hearing from actual bikers that have tested this stuff, I think is super important, which is what this platform and community is all about. Bikers helping bikers. We're trying to help as many as we can worldwide so that we can continue this thing we call the biker revolution, of course. And we just love the community and love helping bikers, guys. With that said, I'm not going to take it out with a call to action other than, you know, you guys know you can shop in the store, become a patron member, donations, all that kind of stuff. We appreciate that. But something that's completely free that you can do for us is simply head over to whatever platform you're listening on, especially iTunes. It's really important, guys. Please just take the time and leave us a review over there, hopefully a positive review. If you're listening on Stitcher or, you know, on the Google side of things, whatever app you're on, please leave us a review. It helps bump us up in the rankings so more bikers around the world have a chance to find us. And we would love to continue to build this platform. So thanks, guys, and leave us a review. Rock on. Get out there and just freaking ride.
Ride safe and God bless.